Paranormal Scratches Part 2, Demonic. As I was encountering scratches practically every day, I was trying to figure out where they were coming from. One morning, as I was going to take a shower, I was looking at my left arm. I noticed a slight pinkishness in the arm. As it grew redder and redder, I noticed the fine needle-like impressions in my skin began to stand out from the redness. The scratches started appearing, two noticeably, and one kind of faint. This was the first time that I knew the scratches were not of my wife's doing or the old visible metal in the bed. In fact, I knew that this is something people would get called crazy for. I instantly shared this with my wife. We did not know what to do but just prayed. For a while, the scratches just kept coming. Praying did not seem to work, so I thought I should at least try to understand scientifically what I see. I did notice that scratches happening in all sorts of hours, day or night. I did, however, feel a sort of anxiety-inducing wetness in the skin, precluding the incidents. Where it was wet, the scratches were there. I did notice a certain pattern in the scratches themselves. They usually came in threes. One of the scratch crossed the other, while one was alone by itself. I've seen small length scratches to a couple inches. I did notice as time passed, the scratches came to around 1 to 1.5 inch length when it occurred on my legs, an inch on my arms, and around half an inch on my face, usually in the nose area. It did not seem to matter where we moved to. The scratches came along. In fact, we moved to 4 different locations, and they still occurred at each location. I still recall watching some paranormal TV show, and they mentioned that 3 scratches usually is demonic in nature. This kind of attack is demonic oppression, or scare tactics in other words. The show even mentioned of the steps to demonic possession, which was the next step in the phase. At this point, I started to question my conscientiousness. Am I present when things happen? I even asked my wife if there are strange things going on with me from a third-person perspective. She said I was normal. I knew that even if I was oppressed like this, I cannot be scared into submission, because my faith is in Jesus Christ. For me, there seemed to be some logic in the human psyche to believe in something larger to save you. Anyways, I won't get too much into that, but I knew possession won't happen because I won't let it happen. A question I had was why this was happening to me. Some silly thoughts my wife and I have was, if the case is that the demon scratched me, why me? Why not my wife? In fact, to this day, she received no such scratches at all. We thought that one being attacked is defending the other. We may never know why. My mom was just a devout Christian trying to convince me to get my church to pray for me. Me being shy, stubborn, and a do-it-yourself kind of guy, did not pursue that route. I think the entity knew this, and it took advantage. In fact, the major part of this whole ordeal happened for years, which I believe started in 2000 to around 2006. I tried different things to no success. I recall praying more often. This did nothing. I also thought of it from a psychological perspective and tried to get myself to rewatch the movie to overcome the fear. I could not get myself to rewatch without feeling evil presence in the room. Could just be my mind playing tricks. In fact, I even thought that this whole thing was my mind playing tricks. But then why scratches? Why 3 scratches of a certain pattern almost every time? And all this before I found out the demonic nature of the attacks from that TV show. I found myself in a strange situation that cannot explain myself to my workplace why I was always tired. I never let them know I was going through. But they could tell something was happening. But then something awesome happened to me that science would not be able to explain. I'll continue that in the next story.